Want to hear some confessions about what I thought of as a baby therapist just beginning out? Well, you're in for a treat. That's what this video is on. I'm Laura Nicola. I'm your faithful therapist. Thanks for being here. So I've been a therapist for about 8 years, including my practicum as a grad student. I know that sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot to me. I know you're probably doing the math in your head, like this girl looks like she's 22. Yes, I know I look like that, and no, I'm not. But I've been doing it for 8 years, and I've learned so much in those 8 years. And on my Instagram story, I asked for feedback on videos that I should make, and somebody asked me to talk about the things that I learned as a baby therapist. So thank you for the suggestion, and here's the video for it. So I learned a lot, and I'm gonna just kind of lay out four kind of general things that I learned, and truly they're confessions because it's kind of vulnerable looking back and thinking back to how I operated as a baby therapist, knowing what I know now. But I suppose that's most professions, right? So thanks for, being humble here with me. So let's start with the first. People are just people. Shocking, right? So my internship, I worked with teenagers that had prodromal symptoms. Basically, this means that they were experiencing kind of symptoms that could lead to potential serious diagnoses, such as schizophrenia or psychosis or bipolar disorder, something like that. So these kiddos had, most of them had trauma in their history, and then some of them were experiencing things like hallucinations, whether auditory or sensory or tactile or whatever. And they were having PTSD symptoms. So does that sound intimidating to you? Because as a beginning therapist, even though I was, in grad school, it sounded intimidating to me. And so I started my internship with I'll admit it, it was a stigma of these kids. And I went into working with them having all of these preconceived notions. And I remember being so fearful of meeting with my first client because I was like, I don't know what this person's going to be experiencing in session. Are they going to be disassociative? Are they going to be hallucinating? Are they going to be, nonverbal? I don't know. And I walked into that first session, and afterwards I felt so silly because my first client was a person. It was this teenage boy. He was great. I worked with him for that year. And I just remember being like, oh, clients with mental health issues are just people. Again, the humility that came with that, of like me fighting my own stigma in my head, was a really good learning opportunity. So people are just people, right? Second thing I learned, everybody wants to be heard. I had so many sessions when I was first starting out where I was so in my head. I would be thinking about, okay, what theory did I learn in class that I can implement? What intervention did my professor teach me that I can use in this situation? What if I say something wrong, like right now? I just, it's like so in my head. I had all these thoughts spinning that somehow I got through a session. And then at the end, more often than not, the client would be like, oh, I feel so much better. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I didn't do anything. But I realized, and I'm still realizing, the power of listening and of people just being heard. So thankfully, during that time that I was in my head, I was somehow projecting that I was listening and I was validating them. And I'm sure I was doing some of that, but probably not as good as I do now. But it was a really good lesson that people just want to be heard. There's a quote, and it's somewhere on my Instagram, I forget who says it, but it's something about how feeling heard is almost as good or not equal to feeling loved. So if there's advice, for a therapist out there, it's just listening and allowing the other person to be heard. We just want to be validated in that way. What else did I learn? Yes, it's not my job to work harder than my clients. I had a professor tell me this, and I think I remember laughing because I thought it was a joke. And come to realize she was not joking. She was very serious. She was telling me how it's not my job to work harder. And I had a hard time with this because I was like, wait, what? It's my job. I'm the therapist. I'm the one, the professional. I'm the one with the training. I definitely need to be prepared for going into whatever I'm going to encounter, right? And those things are true, but when I started working harder than my clients, then there was kind of some blurred boundaries. And that wasn't helpful to me, and it wasn't helpful to my client either. So we were not operating on the same page. And if I started overcompensating for maybe what they were struggling with, I wasn't exactly helping, and I wasn't exactly doing myself a service of taking care of myself either. So I know it sounds weird, but we are not in charge as therapists of working harder than our clients. Finally, if I don't take care of myself, I'm not going to be a good therapist. This was really hard learning starting out. I would have nightmares or dreams about my clients. I would spend hours and hours thinking about our session and replaying it in my head and figuring out what I was going to do next session. I had vicarious trauma responses from some of what I heard from my clients, which led to some depression on my end for sure. And it was tough, and it took me a really long time to learn how to separate my clients' stuff from my stuff. And I mean, I have people all the time ask me, how can you sit and listen to people's issues and problems all day, every day? Well, it takes a lot of practice. I'm a lot better at it now than I was when I first started out. And I mean, thank God for that, right? I learned how to have boundaries. I learned how to take care of myself. I learned how to seek help when I needed it, whether that's in consultation or therapy or whatever. And just by doing that, it allows me to be more present and more healthy and more stable myself when in the room listening to other people's struggles. So that took a lot of time to learn and to practice, but well paid off. So that's the fourth thing that I've learned. I could probably go on and on, but I'm not going to, because that would not be me holding myself accountable to these brief and informative videos. So I'm just going to kind of throw that out there, but would love to hear what you guys think. Would love if other therapists have anything that they could add or comment on. If anyone has any questions, please leave it all in the comments. I want to know. And also, please be sure to subscribe. I put out weekly videos on Saturdays. All sorts of random topics, all sorts of, informative videos, hopefully. That's my goal. So let me know what you want to hear, what you want to listen to, what you want to learn about. And also be sure to go to my other platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, so be sure to check me out on those. And as always, I thank you for being here and helping me fight the stigma of mental health. Many blessings.